Games on Histories Mysteries.
In the 4th century, it is the Roman Catholic Church that tames the combat sports of the ancient era. In the 1700s, it is the unquenchable need for play and a new philosophy of sportsmanship that revives and reinvents sports. The team as national identity and larger-than-life heroes as democratic fantasy propel sports into the 20th century. But there is still one important transformation to come.
Wait a second, but he'll be running like the wind if Johnson hits one. Franklin throws. There's a long flag. It's going to be, I believe, the Giants from the pennant. The Giants from the pennant.
Television changed sport forever.
Television completely rearranged the popularity of sports. Really, from the time that this century began, there was an absolute pecking order. It was baseball way up here, then probably boxing, horse racing, college football. And it didn't change for 50 years. Television came in and whoa, everything changed. Pro football went to the top, horse racing fell off, boxing fell off, basketball zoomed in, everything changed in a very short period of time.
That little box becomes the largest sports arena in the world, and the audience can suddenly be counted not in the thousands, but in the millions.
And then the advertiser says, I want to reach that person. It's worth X number of dollars. The league then says, well, wait a second, we have the product. We want our share of it, and that's the way it works. It is simply a basic manifestation of what you learn in Economics 101, supply and demand. It's simple as that.
Paying to advertise at a sporting event is certainly nothing new. It's a tradition that goes back to the ancient Olympics.
They had people who were there to make a dollar or a drachma off of them. So you had salesmen, you had hawkers, you had poets reading their latest work, trying to sell their books.
And there was also a tradition of parting with some of your wealth for the benefit of the competitors.
When people saw the political capital in winning an Olympic crown, they started to put money into it. There was one law that Athens passed whereby if you won, you became virtually an instant millionaire.
But what television does is turn those millions into billions and create multinational business conglomerates competing for a very lucrative piece of the sports pie.
When you start have eyeballs looking at you and you start thinking about, did I screw up? Is that a scout out there? Can I make money off of this? I think that's when it changes.
It's a business, and the more you play, the more you realize that we're just basically a piece of meat waiting to see what they can do with us and whether they can make us a steak or you're sent to the hamburger factory.
By the end of the 1990s, players' salaries zoomed into the stratosphere.
When you start paying a baseball player, $105 million to play baseball, there's something that is obscene about that.
Athletes are not overpaid. They are not, no matter what they make, because nobody puts a gun to the owner's head and says, you have to pay this athlete this amount of money.
But the big money and big business of sport has created an undercurrent of alienation among owners and athletes.
It's all a money grab anyway. I don't think there are too many people who really play baseball, football, hockey, basketball for the pure joy of it.
Do athletes play only for money? No, I don't think so. I think they all begin by loving a sport, by playing it as a child, by working their way up. Then they realize, okay, there's a lot of money to be made, but that doesn't make you love the sport any less.
But big business is certainly making it harder for the fan. Ticket prices soar.
You're not going to see the bum off the street in a box seat anymore.
Stadiums today are being stratified with luxury boxes. It's not bringing people together. It's even worse, it's bringing them together but separating them and creating class differences.
The democracy of sport is fading in the stands and on the field. The genesis of sport as a source of community identity at the beginning of the 20th century is nearly gone at the end of the 20th century. Players and teams move on a yearly, even a daily basis in the pursuit of bigger corporate returns.
When rooting for the Dodgers becomes no different than rooting for Microsoft, rooting for US Steel, rooting for Nike or Reebok, then what's the difference? Then it's just another corporation that wants your money, and sure they can do that. But then it becomes just another business. And at that point, it's over.
But there is another arena where the future of sports does not look so bleak. It is the renaissance of an idea more than a century old. In the minor leagues, they're playing town ball again, for themselves, for the game, for the fans.
The minor league is the way the game used to be played. Every day, every time you come, it's the same guys.
It's something that goes beyond a dollar. It's about teamwork, it's about mutuality, it's about civic identity, and it's about being a role model, being something larger than life.
There's an athlete in all of us, and we should listen to that voice. And it's there forever until our death, and it's there from the beginning. It's part of our makeup. We're hardwired to be this way.
The Astrodome can be called the first great arena that big money built, but it's historical in another way. When the cover first went on, it blocked sunlight and killed the grass. With officials scrambling for a solution just a week before the stadium opened, an experimental synthetic carpet was hastily installed. It worked and became forever known as AstroTurf. Now, let's take a look at what's coming up on the next Histories Mysteries.